Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут. Всі ми тут.
At the outbreak of war, there was fear and there was a suspicion that he may, capitulate, he will concede, he'll get scared. That clip was perceived that the captain is not abandoning the ship.
While Russia's firepower may be far superior to Ukraine's, the inspiration drawn from the passion and commitment of President Zelenskyy is incalculable, but invaluable. We talk about great wartime leaders, the Churchills, the Roosevelts. Is there the possibility that in the years to come they'll talk about Zelenskyy?
I don't think it's a possibility. I think it will happen.
While the Russian president is so scared of COVID that he won't even sit near his own generals, the Ukrainian president has been standing shoulder to shoulder with his people.
Не відпускаєте.
His speech to the European Parliament was really striking as it was translated for the members of the European Parliament. You hear the translator fighting back tears as he's translating Zelensky's words. I've never heard that happen.
We're fighting just for our land and for our freedom, despite the fact that all large cities of our country are now blocked.
There are thousands of regular Ukrainians who are demonstrating even bigger bravery every day. Unarmed civilians trying to stop tanks with their bare hands. This spirit of regular Ukrainians is what's inspiring Zelenskyy too. He's proven worthy of the nation that he's leading.
He is not the president anymore. He's the leader of the nation.
So imagine this dog right here is Putin. You have anything to say to him? Just yell it in his face.
I can't.
No comment?
He's so cute.
He's too cute to yell dirty expressions.
If Putin were actually here, I wouldn't yell thing. I would
stab him in the...
Yeah.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy is both the Ryan Seacrest and the Julia Louis-Dreyfus of Ukraine. He's also been playing a sitcom version of the Ukrainian president for 3 seasons.
Servant of the People is a good show. It's really funny. It's about a history teacher who's sort of thrust into the presidency because of a video of him that goes viral.
So you feel like you're fully prepared to be president of Ukraine? It's going to be fun.
Why not?
Volodymyr Zelenskyy, a fictional president, is now, it seems, a president-elect. Fiction has become fact.
So we watched Servant of the People, comedian TV show where he's just suddenly the president, and then in real life.
Yeah, it was bizarre to watch because so much of it, it's what happened. It really almost kind of showed the future a little bit. I remember hearing that he was running for president a couple of years later. I didn't expect that, but
yeah, when you find out he's running, did you think he had any chance in hell, or was it this'll be funny?
I did, because I knew from the feedback that I got from my friends, they were just so after the Maidan revolution.
That's when they kicked out Putin's puppet, bitch president.
Yeah, Viktor Yanukovych. After that, Ukrainians just really needed something
a servant
new.
Of the people.
Yes. And there it is.
Я люблю свою страну, люблю свою жену, люблю свою собаку. Мой приговор, слуга народа.
And so the feedback that I got from my friends was they were just at this point we just need something different, and they weren't happy with their current president. It starts with a P, blanking out his name.
Poroshenko.
Yes. And so
I know so much because I read Wikipedia for 20 minutes.
I did too, but I didn't memorize.
Well, he had a moment where he was in Parliament. This is when Zelensky's president. When Poroshenko forgot he wasn't president anymore. Have you seen this?
No, but that kind of ties into the show.
It does. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it does. So in the show, there's a part where he's become president, but the ex-president is refusing to leave his office.
Оставьте меня в покое! Сереж!
Извините, я думал, оно не заряжено.
А ну! У тебя была когда-нибудь своя страна. Я жил в ней, ел в ней, пил в ней. Я хочу умереть вместе с ней, Юра. Я работал как вол, я посидел, я выучил украинский, Юра. Я выучил украинский, Юра.
So in real life, Zelensky is like overseeing parliament or whatever, and the ex-president is in there like giving a speech in which he's like calling himself the current president, and Zelensky's just like, oh my God.
Пишаюся тим, що саме я, як президент України, був автором законопроекту про скасування депутатської недоторканності. Касти недоторканих. Указом моїм, як президента України. Після того, як президент, я наголошую, як п'ятому президенту України, фракція Європейської солідарності буде...
You know, watching the show, I had to keep reminding myself that this
isn't
made
a documentary.
Right, like this wasn't, it's not a satire about what's already happened. It's satirical, but it's so much of it actually really
If Nostradamus was a comedian.
Ровно по мраморным ступенькам. Кстати, итальянские, древние. Да? По ним еще сама Мария Антуанетта поднималась.
Куда?
Да, на казнь. Кстати, люстра была раньше серебряная.
I'm Paige. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Ukraine from 2010 to 2012.
So yeah, we're turning to a new page on this channel. All Ukraine all the time. No more videos about like porn parodies. If you want to see Flesh Gordon, if you want to see
I don't want to see it.
2069 A Sex Odyssey. We're not doing that anymore. We're doing nothing but Ukraine content 24/7 unless we hit 1 million subscribers.
I'm here for it.
And then I'll do that porn parody shit again. If this were to happen in America, who is the comp we have for Zelensky? I think the obvious one would be like Jon Stewart, I guess. Like how
I really
weird
thought
is
about
it?
this, and I had a hard time.
Would it be Nick Carter?
Too soon.
Is it Nick or Aaron? Aaron. Would it be Aaron Carter? I got the wrong one already. He just died. Like when did?
Like an hour or two.
An hour ago,
yeah.
he died.
At some point recently.
Aaron Carter, R.I.P. Do you want to talk about Aaron Carter for a little while?
No.
Have you ever touched him?
I did. I touched him once.
And he's dead now.
On his stomach. Yeah.
Oh no. Was it
I
stomach
don't-
cancer? You maybe killed him.
Zelensky was, in Ukraine, easily the best recognizable comedian and the most successful one.
Was Zelensky, because he was on like variety show, was he like a political comedian or was he more just like an SNL? Is it closer to Jon Stewart becoming president or Andy Samberg?
My impression of him was that he was very like clever, that he's a like quick-witted, and so
not Andy Samberg.
Оппозиция лоббировала, да не вылоббировала.
О, да, хорошо. Да?
Ага. О.
Как греки.
Как греки.
Ага. Оппозиция лоббировала, да не вылоббировала. Оппозиция лоббировала, да не вылоббировала.
Прекрасно.
Спасибо.
Усложнил.
Да.
Ехал Гепа через реку, видит Гепа в реке рак. Да. Сунул Гепа дупу в реку, рак за дупу Гепу цап.
Ехал Гепа через реку, видит Гепа в реке рак.
Halfway between Veep and West Wing, where like West Wing has a very bright-eyed optimism. We're just gonna help and make things better, and then Veep is a very comedic take on politics. It's like this is kind of in the middle. It's got this optimism, and it is funny, but it's not like
I don't
totally comedy.
I didn't take it as optimistic.
It does have some very pessimistic. Like you're trying, and it's not working.
It was no secret that corruption was an issue, especially when I was there.
Did you pay any bribes?
I know when I traveled to Krakow, Poland with a friend, the border guards were charging cars. I know that after he ran away,
Went back to hang out with Putin.
They did a major like overhaul of the police force. Not to say that it was like completely resolved and there was no bribery or no corruption at all, because that's not something that's easy to fix.
The theme of the show is it's not easy to fix.
Right. I didn't see it as optimistic so much as like an official acknowledgement of all of the corruption. A common phrase that I would hear a lot of Ukrainians say are "Chai bude," which means like let it be. They felt for a long time like they weren't in control
And they can't do anything about it.
Right, so they kind of like let it be.
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Right, and so I think that was kind of the mentality for a long time. The show kind of acknowledging this and making kind of a joke about it. So it was kind of sad to me, but it also kind of bothered me a little because it was like, stop it. You know, everybody knew that there was corruption going on, but kind of really targeting certain areas, you know, like for example, when they show the house for the president, and they have there was a small private zoo there, which was true. Like when Yanukovych fled, he had a small zoo of these You
gotta have your own private zoo. You know,
right.
You don't want a giraffe that other people have looked at.
Meanwhile, my friends, have to drive through their village, swerving around the potholes because the roads are falling apart, and there's no, so that money.
So there's an episode, or several episodes, about the roads.
А кто главный?
Ну я.
Необеденное время.
А что мы по-вашему делаем?
Я который раз езжу по этой дурацкой дороге, все время ямы.
Скажите нам, пожалуйста, чем не хватать? Собачьими минами? На всю бригаду ведро щебенки выделил.
Ну а почему тогда вы здесь?
Бригадир приказал, мы приехали. Аварийный участок есть? Есть. Бригада вот есть. Видимость работы, извините, тоже есть.
Бардак.
My first thought was, well, it's not because they're lazy, because Ukrainians are really hardworking people.
Not lazy. They haven't been paid in months. So he's like, all right, I'm going to fix roads. And so he brings in the infrastructure minister, gives him the order, I'll fire you if you guys don't fix the roads. And we see there's this montage.
Министр инфраструктуры или кто?
Ты глава Укравтодора или кто? Значит так, если завтра не будет нормальных дорог в Киеве, ты всю жизнь меня будешь работать водителем катка.
Ты глава Киевавтодора или кто?
Ты начальник района или кто? Асфальт. Или нас закатают в асфальт. Понял?
Так, если я еще раз узнаю, что ты тыришь щебенку...
Да что там тыры?
Надо, не надо. Кто на стройрынок щебенку продавал, а?
Я продавала. Сука! 3 місяці не платять зарплату, не бачимо.
Нам нужно 2 месяца и 20 миллионов.
Нам нужно полгода и 400 миллионов.
Нам нужен год и 1 миллиард.
Василий Петрович, для ремонта дорог в Киеве необходимо 2 года и 2 миллиарда.
It'll cost $2 billion and take 2 years. So it's every step along the way, they're taking 80% of the cut.
It's kind of like drug dealing, basically.
Just like drug dealing.
But roads.
He's a good dude. I got the money, fix the roads, and then the next week he walks by and they're still not working. And they're like, we haven't been paid. None of that money got through. So he fires the infrastructure minister. And then it's all right, this game of telephone we had. Next person gets promoted. His head of security is like, yeah, well, he spent all that money on a car and an apartment in London. And he's like, all right, fire that guy. And it's next guy comes in. He's like, well, he spent that money on an apartment in Monaco and a car. And so eventually it gets to the lady who's just the on-site in charge of 8 people. Who you're like, all right, she's gonna take the money and make it happen.
Как новый министр инфраструктуры.
Господин президент, не волнуйтесь. Ви ж мене знаєте. Я не підведу. Я вам такі дороги зроблю. Лучше, чем в Америке.
В Америке?
Да. А еще дом в Гавайях, квартира в Лондоне, 2 кубика, 5 слитков золотом, 10 сумок.
Hermes purses, and he's just he can't find a person that will take the money and spend it appropriately. They all take it.
Imagining being a Ukrainian watching that show at the time, it's maddening actually, because it really is. Yeah, they're a funny joke. It's a funny show and there are jokes, but that was happening. And so, even though it was on a television show, they were seeing this is being acknowledged. He's seeing this. What other choice do we have? Something has to change, which is why he got, I think it's 75 or 76% of the vote. He was also hotter than his.
Going into it, I was expecting it's you elected a good man and he'll make the good decisions and that'll fix things. And instead it's it doesn't matter if you elect a great person president, because he gives orders and those people just all embezzle all the money. And even if you fire them and replace them, those people embezzle the money.
Yeah, and it really is.
What do you do?
Департамент гуманитарной политики. А это Виктор Олегович, департамент внешней гуманитарной политики.
Да, все так запутано. Вы не думали, что некоторые отделы просто нужно реформировать?
Думали еще как думали, и поэтому создали департамент реформирования. Кстати, вот его руководитель.
Ну, помощники же вам все равно нужны.
Одно дело помощник у меня, а другое дело, зачем нужны помощники помощника? Или заместитель помощника помощника? Это же какой-то парадокс. Чем больше в этой стране помощников, тем больше этому государству нужна помощь.
Прекрасно сказано. Можно я стащу себе это на Facebook?
I have a quote from an article. Watching Servant of the People is like watching The West Wing, knowing that America really elected Martin Sheen, and that he turned out to be the most rousing wartime leader in the nation's living memory. He's very politically involved. He gets arrested a lot at like protests. Martin Sheen does.
Really? I didn't know that. What is he protesting for? Because I have to.
He's
know what
very
he's protesting
lefty.
for
I don't know.
To know if I support him.
You would, I would imagine. He's a very lefty liberal guy.
And how many times have you been engaged in civil disobedience and resist arrest?
About 68,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Going down. Oh, there's one.
The show is very funny. It's toned half Veep, half West Wing. It follows a lovable cast of goofball family and friends. Its references to Putin are always cheeky. For example, whenever the parliament is arguing and he can't get their attention, he goes, "Putin has been deposed," and they're all like, "What?" The key threats in Servants, Ukraine, are from within, and the show's humor lies largely in the inherent absurdities of corruption, its Escher-like quality of fingers pointing at themselves. Is that what you were just saying?
The thing that I hung on to in that is the goofball comment, because I don't take it. I don't think that they're goofballs.
Right.
I think it's actually pretty smart humor.
Все депутатам голосовать, потому что систему Рады установить просто негде, практически негде. Может, по старинке, руками. Да. Не будет никакого этого кнопкодавства, каждый будет голосовать за себя.
Да. А если депутат не придет на заседание?
Ну, можно его руку принести.
Ну?
А это кто? Это Игорь Николаевич, министр финансов.
Куда это он так спешит?
На встречу с вами. Евгений Николаевич, министр юстиции.
А это кто?
Это жена министра экономики.
Тоже на встречу со мной?
Нет, на встречу со своим парикмахером.
I would say one, which we haven't talked about, but he fires all these ministers and then is like, "I'm gonna get the best people to do these jobs," and then it's like they stack the deck against him with more corrupt people.
Yeah.
So he fires all of them and instead hires like his friends and his ex-wife. So this is like where some of the comment is like, my friend who's a actor/drug dealer.
They made it appear like he was a drug dealer when he's like, "You got to get out of this industry. I've got a better deal for you." Blah blah blah. And it made it look like because he was moving bags around of cash
like
and powder,
money.
White
but
powder.
He's just
but
acting.
then when they come back, they kind of show the other side of the room. He's actually an actor.
The people he puts in, his ex-wife is the like finance minister or something. This dude, I forget his name. He becomes foreign minister. That's where it's a little goofball. A little
He
bit.
is.
Почему мы все время обсуждаем эти перевороты в Африке? Негры тоже люди, хотят переворачивать, пусть переворачивают.
Вы, видимо, хотели сказать африканцы.
Негры, африканцы, какая разница? Или негры это плохое слово? Я же не сказал черномазы, я сказал негры. Кстати, знаете анекдот по этому поводу? Классный. Сейчас расскажу.
К сожалению, а может быть и к счастью, мы не можем показать анекдот Мухина.
А что я не так сказал?
Let's talk the plot. I was expecting it to be like about his campaign, a man of the people, I'm gonna run. And no, it's like he's president immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I read the synopsis, so I.
But like first episode, he's just like getting ready for work, and then there's a knock on the door, and it's like, "Mr. President," and he's like, "What?" So he was elected president the night before, and like wasn't watching TV.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It was a
didn't
little
know
bit
he was
weird.
elected.
It was a little bit weird, and then
like,
they kind
wow.
of like tell you about how
We then get
how
we learned
got
the
to that,
flashback
but
later.
I thought initially it was like, oh, people wrote in a name and they meant somebody else, but like
There's a viral video of him in his history class, like yelling about corruption.
Понятно, а выбирать-то не из пи***расов. Выбираем меньше. И так 25 лет подряд. И знаешь, потом пи***расы власть. Пи***ят и пи***ят. Пи***ят, и пи***ят. Ударения разные, смысл один. Понимаешь, тебе мне нам всем не на маленький, понимаешь, а здоровый такой, отправили. Если бы можно было, я бы устроил. Кортежи, льготы, ваши, дачи, всех вас, чтобы, простой учитель жил как президент. А президент этот, жил как учитель.
Polling all said he was like 10th. So it's like, okay, he's on the ballot, but he's
And then the
shockingly wins.
The bad guys, who they never show their eyes.
The powers that be.
Yeah,
Who sit around eating caviar and playing Monopoly with real money.
Right. And
Something my friend used to do online, but okay.
They're pissed because they thought that
they each have their own puppet.
Right. They each right.
And they're like, wait, whose puppet is this guy? And he's like, I didn't do that. Well, did you do that? He's like, that's not my guy. So there's like almost nothing about the campaign. He lives with his parents and his sister and his sister's daughter.
Which is common because he is divorced. Usually single people often in Ukraine will live, especially on a teacher's salary like he is, will live with their parents.
And so like the first episode, he's like trying to get ready for work, and it's like there's one bathroom. His niece is like taking the bathroom and the iron. He can't get an iron. So once he's president, his family is like, all these people are like either giving them free things or coming to them like, can I get a job?
They're willing to give them whatever they want, and they're saying it's just because they're president. It's because he's a president. We'll give you all this furniture. We'll give you this boat or whatever because you're the president. We're honored. But they're all wanting something in return.
They all go shopping, and then the dad. What's the dad want? An inflatable boat. Not even like a good boat, but like an inflatable boat. It comes in a box. Yuri. Seems like he's his handler. He's your Leo McGarry. He's like his chief of staff or something. But he's really the prime minister, because he's like, you got to go to this photo op. You got to go do this. So it's like
he's almost like an assistant, but also important.
But telling him what to do.
Right.
So your first experience, he's like, I'm a good man and I'm president, but like he's just doing what he's told. And like, well, what else are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna order people around? It's like all these people are ordering him around.
Сделаем пару фото для удостоверения президента. Улыбаться не надо. Прекрасно. Президент думает о медицине.
А как я должен думать о медицине?
Ну, а как можно думать о том, чего у нас нет? Великолепно. Президент общается с рабочим классом. Замерли? Это мы так шутим?
Извините.
И для Facebook. Ага. Для молодежи. Селфи. Руки для Национального музея. Замечательно. Моем ручку. Слепок левой руки для музея хиромантии. Моем ручку. Правую ножку для музея. Василий Петрович. Да. И ваш профиль для коллекционной монеты от Нацбанка. Простите.
Well, and then like he has a speech, and he's like, I have some ideas, and his handler, don't worry about that. Somebody else will take care of that. And he's like, I have one thing I want to talk about. He's like, one? Okay, that's good.
That's good. Yeah. Don't worry your little mind about it.
Right.
So the speech they give him, it plagiarizes the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah.
And they're like, they won't notice.
They were like, Americans will like it.
Yeah. There's some absurd elements. We have like, he'll be talking and then like Lincoln will walk in the room. Or Mark Twain, or...
My favorite was when Julius Caesar walks in the room, swords and knives
Great
in his back.
Caesar's ghost.
Hilarious.
So it's kind of like, you can elect a good person, but then he becomes a puppet, even though he's not like a bought and paid for puppet, just because it's like how do you run the government? It's not like you just give a couple orders. It's like, well, those people are gonna not listen to you.
And when it was already so broken, and
right.
this is, I'm talking about the show and in real life.
Oh my God.
Right.
We'll put the money to pay the teachers who haven't been paid for 4 months. And it's like, well, where'd that money go? Well, that guy bought an apartment in Monaco.
Yeah.
The powers that be, smoking cigars, drinking brandy, eating caviar. They're watching the Ukrainian soccer team.
Слышь, ты давай меня этого инвалида, он же по мячу попасть не может. Ну откуда я знаю на кого? Ну ты же тренер, ты решай. Болом следи, не тренди по телефону. Ну что же я позвонил? Ты еще меня виноват.
So the presidential staff, there's like 1 million people that work for him. But there's a presidential motivator. That was my favorite. Yeah. It's like he's got like 5 different massage therapists. Yeah. They all like specialize in different areas, and there's one that's like the prostate specialist.
Парикмахер.
Очень приятно.
Визажист.
Василий Петрович. Вася.
Вальдемар. Косметолог. Марио. Костюмер. Стилист. Пилинг-мастер.
Пилинг что?
Чистка кожи. Ага. Это Розарио. Архитектор загара.
Это фитнес-тренер.
Это муза всего этого департамента. У них, видите ли, без Лёсика нет вдохновения.
Я понимаю.
The motivator I loved. He's like, you're gonna be great. And he's like, yeah, you're fired.
Ваш мужественный проникновенный взгляд говорит о том, что страна наконец-то обрела достойного правителя.
Федя, ваш личный мотиватор.
Мотиватор?
He
kept showing up in different, and then eventually Zelenskyy, we needed to just give him a job.
Золотые руки Таиланда. Юй, дяо, ляо, чунь, чай. Одним словом, спина, шея, ноги и мочки ушей.
Мочки есть?
А это массаж, ну, вам это пока не надо. Ну и другие замечательные.
So he has this giant entourage of bodyguards, and he fires all the bodyguards. I don't need bodyguard. I'm just gonna ride the bus anyway.
Не, она не нужна.
Ну, Кеннеди тоже так говорил, и чем это закончилось?
Чем это?
Да вы что? Я же вам сказал уже нормально, один раз. Вы все свободны, спасибо. Не нуждаюсь.
Have you gotten to the part where he gets a stalker? That's
No.
coming up. So
I promise I watched the show.
Yeah. How many? You watched like 10 episodes?
Around there, probably 10 or like 4.
I'm like 16
No.
or so.
Like 10.
2 seasons that are like 23 episodes. Then there's a 3-episode season that's set 30 years in the future, and it seems like he's been in prison. There's a movie, but the movie is basically season 2.
10 секунд. 3 ножевых задеты жизненно важные органы. И заметьте, это я, домохозяйка.
Господи, женщина!
Марина, жена Толика.
Женщина Марина, жена Толика, вы больная!
Нет, я-то как раз здоровая, а вот вы практически уже труп.
Turns out she is the wife of his like head bodyguard he fired. He's like, you need a bodyguard, my husband, you need to hire him. And so she's constantly stalking him.
Извините.
Василий Петрович.
I stabbed you. See? You need a bodyguard. My buddy over here, that's an actor, he's the foreign minister. My ex-wife is the finance minister. And then for security, this very stern teacher that we all had. She kept all these teenagers in line.
Банк Николаевской, слышала такой? Да.
По-моему, она из наших. Ну, из тех старых. Андроповская внештатка проверить сложно. Все базы в Кремле. Просто сольем ее по-тихому. В смысле вообще?
Ага.
Летний дождь. Подействует через 4 часа. Это Кривицкий.
You know.
I don't think I have this written down.
Oh.
What do we got?
This is a really big deal. So
A big deal. Let me hear it.
It actually brought a tear to my eye a little bit. So he's sitting down at the table and they're getting ready to do a toast.
Пионерский лагерь «Юный ленинец» в Карпат. И пошли на дискотеку в соседней...
Ты хотела потанцевать, а я-то чего попёрся?
Потому что ты за ней все время как хвостик ходил, герой любовь.
Так,
Ну, а из-за тебя мы отгребли тогда.
Нет, из-за меня мы
из-за
отгребли.
кого?
Из-за кого? И вот из-за того. Кто не захотел с амбалом танцевать?
А кто сказал Амбалу, она с гоблинами не танцует?
А он услышал меня тогда?
С первого раза он не услышал.
Я вообще думал, что его так зовут, Гоблин.
Вот тогда мы и отгребли.
And they're talking about, you know, the kind of the corruption of the people that they're working around and the challenges and everything. And he says, we're in the midst of nothing but goblins, and we have 2 options: to flee or to stay.
Там, куда мы попали, полно гоблинов. И у нас есть 2 варианта. Сбежать или остаться.
И отгрести.
По полной, я вам обещаю.
And they kind of just look at each other and smile, and then they drink. And that really got me, I guess, because it just hearing that scene and then knowing what he and that actual group are doing right now, you know, where they did have 2 options: to flee or to stay. And he stayed, and he has been an incredible leader during this war. It just was a real tie to real life and everything.
Всі ми тут, наші військові тут, громадяни суспільства тут, всі ми тут. Захищаємо нашу незалежність.
Rejecting America's offer to help him escape the conflict and rule from abroad.
It would have been easy for your president to flee to London, to Washington.
I thought where you were going, they're looking at all the applicants. There's like 100 applicants in a hall.
Yeah.
And he says,
За взятки в особо крупных размерах смертная казнь.
Извините, можно вас на секундочку? Что такое говорите? Во-первых, это неправда. Во-вторых, негуманно.
Вуаля. Полегче выбрать, правда? Прошу в кабинет, пожалуйста. По-моему, выбор очевиден.
they do a big sting. They're all being attempted to be bribed. The powers that be have sent this man to bribe.
This was tricky. They got
so
me.
We're going to
this.
bribe all your new ministers. They reject the bribes, but then they change their mind. They all take the bribes, but it's all a big sting.
They had like a
operation.
big scene, like that scene where they're all like driving or walking down the street. And you can tell that they're all considering it. It's a lot of money.
Who is one of them? His wife like leaves him because he's like, "You're turning down all this money."
Yeah, $2 million.
Почему бы вам не съесть еще маленький кусочек торта? Потому что, Ванька, у меня сладкого нет.
Кусочек. Выберите весь.
Ваня! Ваня, не надо, Ваня! Ваня, что ты делаешь, Ваня?
So yeah, they do the sting. They take the money, but they put it to like pay the teachers or something. One of those, like pay the back money for we owe.
Put it back into the government.
Right. And then meanwhile, we've arrested the dude giving all these bribes out. It's like a sting, and it was also a sting on the audience because we didn't know
I was
they
shocked.
weren't just taking the bribe.
Because I felt happy about his friends, and then I felt sad about his friends.
They're taking the bribes too.
And then I felt happy again about his friends.
Big problem is that like no one pays taxes. Everyone evades taxes. And so they're trying to culturally change, like, hey, you guys need to pay your taxes.
Well, they said, because they said in the U.S., if you don't pay your taxes, you're a criminal, or if you get in trouble.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah,
they're like, but
sure.
Существенных причин. И первая причина – наша славянская ментальность.
А это правда. Если в Америке не платить налоги – это стыдно, то у нас поиметь государство – это считается практически подвиг. В Америке не платить налоги. В Америке не платить налоги.
They do this with the road episode, too, where they're like, we need to fix the roads, and they show pictures. They're like, here is a road in Belarus. Here is a road in Poland.
Your dog's eating my hair.
Don't eat the hair,
Stop
buddy. That's not good. Okay. Zelenskyy is showing the like infrastructure minister, like, here's a road in Poland and here's a road in Belarus. They're all like very nice. And he's like, and here's the road in Ukraine and it's covered in potholes. And he's like, I'm not showing you a road in like a rich country like Germany or USA. That would be nice. And I was like, yeah, USA, all roads, we have all great roads. Somebody's never driven through Missouri. So.
Yeah, I know.
And then in this tax evasion thing, they're like, well, it's cultural because here everyone evades taxes, but like in the US, everyone just pays their taxes.
And so that's what they said. They're like,
all pay taxes.
But here we do it as a show that we don't trust the government, or we don't support the government.
In America, we all trust the government.
We do. We love
all
it.
Pay our
we
taxes.
pay our taxes. We pay extra.
Right. They bring in a film director. They're trying to do some propaganda to like, hey guys, pay your taxes. And he's like drinking Red Bull and has lots of terrible ideas. And then he has like various commercials. There's this one that is a lizard and it drops its tail so that the predator will eat the tail. And it's like, if you pay your taxes, it won't eat you.
I love it.
Pretty great.
Jeff, your dog is eating.
He's teething. He's just a baby. We found a tooth on the floor the other day.
Ew.
He's a baby.
Ow!
Dude, give him something. Here, there's a fish.
Here.
Just hand him something else to chomp on.
We can be friends.
Just redirect. We've had him like 9 days.
I have human children and you're telling me.
They have all these people arrested. So they're like, make a show of, we're arresting all these people for evading tax.
А вы все здесь злостные неплательщики.
Я прошу прощения, так я не поняла, что это за бумажка?
Повестка в суд. Ознакомьтесь и распишитесь. Напоминаю, что до суда вы не имеете права...
What actually happens is all the judges get bribes, and so basically they just made the judges rich.
Oh.
And all those people get off. So it's like, even when you try to do all these good things...
Yeah.
Уголовные дела за неуплату налогов. Дела разваливаются за нехваткой улик, а в заповедных пущах области появляются элитные судейские поместья. Так может, ход президента прозрачнее, чем мы думаем? Никаким правосудием здесь и не пахнет.
Oh, his ex-wife goes on a date.
А я? Взрослая девочка, и так лохануться, а? Это ж надо было.
Если честный, то обязательно дурак. Если умный, ворюга.
Угу. Если холостой, то извращенец.
Ты не говори. Ты про адвоката своего, что ли?
Ну а про кого? Так все хорошо начиналось, понимаешь? Такие выходные, гуляли, на лодочке плавали, стихи мне читал. А потом поехали к нему, а у него там 50 оттенков серого, отдыхают, Вась. Ой, господи, как вспомню, так вздрогну. Или ноги унесла.
What's happening? What is happening right now?
But then she's like, well, maybe we'll get back together. And I was like, okay, stop that.
She keeps drinking red wine and then gets horny.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
every time she's drinking red wine, you know, she's feeling horny.
Right. I mean, once he's the
noticed
president, it's Zelensky. Come on.
I know.
How can you not?
Why did they break up? I haven't learned yet. I'm 16 episodes in. I don't know why they broke up.
Hinted.
It's an obvious will they, won't they. They're going to eventually get back together.
The couple won Ukraine's version of Dancing with the Stars together back in 2006.
He was the voice of Paddington Bear.
I love him more and more.
Yeah, fun facts. Ukrainian entertainment, Ukrainian TV, any good
That's all I got.
bands?
They were really into this like 80s or 90s rock band called the Scorpions.
I know
And
the
then
Scorpions.
30
I know
and
the
then
Scorpions.
30 Seconds to Mars was also like really popular when I was there.
I've seen 30 Seconds to Mars live twice.
And also Tony Braxton.
Tony Braxton.
Yeah, it was weird. It was really weird.
His ex-wife in the show, she calls him up and was like, hey, do you want to tell me anything? It's like, did you forget her birthday? Figure out, it's like, oh, happy name day.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's what it
name
is.
day?
Yeah, so like it's usually for like older, more traditional names and
So you have your birthday, but you also have your name day.
yeah.
There seems to be some like, maybe racism's not the right word, but like when they're hiring, like, oh, well, he's Georgian or he's Armenian or something. It's like, can we not hire them? Like it's Ukrainians saying, well, we can't trust Ukrainians. We need to get a Georgian to do it.
We need to find honest Ukrainians to fill these roles.
And so if
Here's our pile of applicants,
And
but
if it's
all
a
of these are
Georgian-
Georgian and from the Baltic states.
So is it like that Georgians and Armenians are good?
The best.
They're the best. This is so backward. Like it'd be like if on the West Wing, like, yeah, but they're all Canadians. Like, of course they're good. They're Canadians. We got to find like some dude
But they
from
are, though, I
Alabama. You know, what does this mean? It's like mixing milk with cucumbers.
I don't know
what
because
does
he
that
said
mean?
that and then he's like, "Excuse me for saying that." And
I was like,
and in my mind I was like, "Is this like
Mixing
a?
milk
Is
with
this like a
cucumbers.
sexual? Is it a euphemism? Like what's happening? I don't know. I couldn't figure it out."
Write in the comments, what does mixing milk with cucumbers mean?
I mean, I have a guess, but it might not be right.
Is it a penis and could draw?
Yeah, they probably have it in this.
Oh, it could
Probably
be in
milk and
there.
cucumbers in that. So.
Do you want to draw milk and cucumbers
No.
on that? Okay.
А вы не думали, Василий Петрович, что вот менять всех и сразу тоже неправильно? Может, все-таки сплав молодости, опыта?
Я думал. Мне кажется, это, знаете, ну, как смешать молоко с огурцами, простите.
What would you title this show if not Servant of the People?
Zelenskyy, the heartthrob of the world.
Is he the thirst trap of the world right now? Is he the sexiest man alive?
Absolutely.
Number one.
He's my hall pass, and he's also my husband's hall pass.
Is Zelenskyy on your short list of?
We can have a list.
Yeah, you can have a Mount Rushmore.
Jeff's, now that I know I can have more than one hall pass,
Yeah.
Jeff's on it. Jeff's on my list.
Anytime you want to borrow him, honestly. Like,
Okay.
I like being home alone, so.
Good to know. Yeah. Who's on my list?
Nico Case, redheads.
Keep going.
Natural redness.
Nico Case.
Oh, natural, you bitch. You had to throw
Yeah.
that in there. Redheads, but natural. Oh my God.
How thirsty are we for Z Daddy? That was my next talking point.
Was it? Let's talk more about it. Is my face red because I feel like I'm blushing now?
How would you describe the Ukrainian sense of humor? Very dark, or to
Dry? Yeah.
Very dry.
Yeah. And just
Kind of English,
and
maybe?
very like they can laugh at themselves. And
Self-deprecating.
Yes.
Americans watching this if you like X, then you would be
Splash
into
beer
that.
in my eyeball.
Cult 45, right to the eye. It's not like laugh out loud.
It reminds me of like Scrubs.
Scrubs, yeah.
You know, where
Scrubs
it's kind of
has-
that like silly, like some goofy.
We got some dirty stuff going on over there.
I'm on camera on a couch and there are people licking.
Scrubs is interesting because it takes the medical drama, makes it funny, but it's still
Which
a
is like the
drama
show.
at
Even
times.
Netflix, I looked at the
Still-
description. Netflix describes this as a as a comedy and then like a political drama and
Right.
stuff too. So
It's not an all-out hilarious fest.
Right.
It's
Scrubs is definitely like sillier.
dramedy. You want to just teach our audience some cursing?
I'm like, I would say I'm conversationally fluent in Ukrainian.
I almost had a minor in Russian, and I don't speak it at all.
So I actually just found the picture for my going away party in 2010.
I was there.
You were.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time I maybe ever met you.
Yeah, it was probably the first time we met.
And
I was
and so
I can read the cake that says your name.
Yes,
in
you were so
Cyrillic.
excited
I was
about
like,
that. I just found that picture of the cake, and at that point, like I
probably spoke Russian better than you could.
You
at that
did.
point,
I didn't.
yeah.
I had just started looking at the alphabet, so I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, those are
And then
letters.
After you spent a week there, you'd probably passed me.
So when I first got there, I lived with the host family for 3 months, and they didn't know any English, so I did a lot of charades.
Tinder.
My host mom, she's kind of asking me what I like and all this stuff. She's like, "Do you want something to drink?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm okay."
Tequila, pivo, vino.
Well, so I said no. I said no, I'm all right. Well, it was months later when I came back to visit. She explained to me that she didn't ask me if I wanted something to drink. She asked me, "Do you drink?" And I said no. That is why my 3 months at my host family, I was
We're
always
dry,
like,
very sober.
yeah, not all the way, but like sometimes they would get beer, and I'd be like, "Yes, I'll have one, please." So I told them like the
What
first
a
day, like,
sad-
I don't drink, and they were probably like, "Oh, damn!" Like
we were hoping to get hammered.
Well, just because it's like part of the,
Colt 45. You have Colt 45?
Right. I meant to bring over Ukrainian moonshine.
Moonshine.
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure my friend's grandma made in her bathtub. It's actually for moonshine pretty smooth. So.
Do you have a lot of moonshine experience? You can say it's
Yeah.
smooth for a moonshine?
Yep.
You have a lot of moonshine experience.
Yep. When the war began, I got really active with fundraising and more recently with advocacy, raised quite a bit of money, and I've sent supplies over and have worked really closely with several colleagues and friends that are over there too.
Do you want to plug where to send your money to help Ukrainians?
Yeah, so I am no longer personally collecting money, but for tax reasons, because in the U.S., even though there's a certain point where you have to start paying taxes on stuff like that. So
Thanks, Obama.
I am friends with, and some of my friends and colleagues started an organization called Stand With Ukraine KC. They're a 501c3 and donations are tax deductible. They're good, honest people, so they'll make sure that the money and supplies get to where it needs to. Early on, I kind of accidentally started fundraising. And by that, I mean, people were asking me how they could help. And I really didn't have an organization at the time that I could trust to tell them where to give their money to.
Just give me the money and I'll...
Right. Yeah. And I had sent some of my own personal money over to some friends over there. So then I was like, well, I'll just share. A couple people have asked me, here's my Venmo. If you want to help, I'll tell you exactly where the money's going and what it's used for. And next thing I knew, I had raised like $10,000. And
you put it all on black.
Right. I officially do not trust large organizations. There's been a lot of like the Red Cross, for example, there's been some controversies.
Do you know, why is your name Paige? Is there a backstory to Paige? Did your parents, how kids are named Ford because they're conceived in the back of a Ford?
Well, no,
was there a pager
I was
involved?
conceived in a gold Monte Carlo, so
Okay.
luckily they didn't go with that.
You're not named Monte Carlo.
No.
Chevy.
That's kind of cute though.
Chevy's a good name.
I'm blanking on it, but there was a soap opera in the 80s that my mom liked. And I think it was Nicolette Sheridan, I think is her name, was the actress. And I'm not named after the character because I think the character was kind of a slut or something. I don't know. But
you're
so
named
I think
after
it was
a
like
slutty character on a...
But the name, they liked the name, and so they went with that. And so
not because of a pager incident.
Knots Landing? Is that what it was called?
Knots
I think it was Knots Landing.
I want to have a kid and name him Slider because she slid into my DMs. Any thoughts?
Yep.
It's pretty good.
That's great.
And then if Erin were here, she would say, I didn't slide into your DMs. And I'd say, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about my next wife. Next one. So when you were in Ukraine, were you single? Got any stories?
I arrived. I was single when I arrived.
Not when you left.
No, and when I left. I did a little Slav dating while I was there.
Ukrainian Tinder?
No, first of all, the phone that I had was like one of those old Nokia phones that just had like a like
brick.
a green.
You could play Snake,
Yeah.
and that was about it.
I played so much Snake. So lonely.
Imagine if we had. Imagine if we had Tinder in like the 90s on those phones that had like 40 pixels. What would that be like? You're like swipe
just-
right on that. He looks blurry. I don't know.
Yeah, like
Could've been
that
good.
one has long hair. No,
Ukrainian dating. Give me a hot tip. What's it like?
date someone with a car.
Okay, cars.
Yeah.
It's like being in high school. You know.
Well,
Dude
yeah.
with a car.
Well,
right?
because a lot of Ukrainians, you know, when they're unmarried, still live with their parents. Yeah, and then having a car is convenient just to go places, I guess.
And conceive babies in the
I didn't
back
conceive
seat.
any babies in Ukraine that I know of.
Whoa. You could be
yeah.
a dad. You don't know. You've turned the page on that part of your life. You're not
Yeah.
single anymore.
No, but I don't know. There's just something about the leather jacket wearing. You know, Ukrainians are really great about looking put together. You know, when they're
More than Americans?
yeah going to the like here we go to the store in like pajama pants and stuff, and like I just love me a good Slavic.
That's a good. You married one.
No, I didn't.
Nope. Whoops.
He looks close enough.
Do you like him because he looks Slavic?
Yeah, that's honestly what he doesn't know
Really?
that,
He
but
doesn't know that. He'll know that now. What else you want to tell him? You want any confessions?
I call him Vlad in my head.
In your head. He doesn't know that though?
No.
So we're talking about Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
That's exactly.
If it's in Ukrainian, there's a lot of O's in there. V-O-L-O.
Volodymyr.
Volodymyr. But do you pronounce it differently?
Volodymyr.
Because I've seen a video where he pronounces it Vladimir. And I was like, okay,
So
now
that's just
he's
the Russian-
translating it.
Hi, I'm Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
I'll have to talk to him about that.
There was a joke. I didn't understand the joke until I read about it later.
Филипп, Пашарон Константин, Эге, Хубло. Вы знаете, кстати, кто такие носит?
Кто?
Путин.
Путин Хубло.
Да. Но вам я...
Putin Hublat. And it apparently sounds like Putin Huilo, which is a crude football protest chant, which means dickhead.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to say that.
suggestions? You want to say like, smash that subscribe button right to camera.
I've never said it before. I'm so nervous. What do I say? Like, comment, and subscribe?
Sure.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Wait, what do they always say? Click the subscribe button below. Right?
Drink your vodka. Vodka.
Oh, so you mentioned a drinking game, and I thought of this.
Right, we didn't talk about this. Drinking game idea for watching the show. Because if you're binge watching 51 episodes, you need like a binge drinking.
So I didn't realize it was about the show. I was just thinking about like a drinking game in general. And my first idea was a war crimes drinking game where basically you like look at the news starting in February.
There's a war crime.
Every time there's a war crime, you take a shot and you die in 3 minutes.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's very fun. What's the like approval rating for Zelenskyy, and like instead of capitulate, you know, how much do they really support like let's fight this war and let's really stick it out and not just like, well, give in and this territory becomes Russian, like who cares? And it's like his approval rating is like 90% or something.
Yeah,
It's like,
I don't
yeah.
personally know a single Ukrainian who just let's just be done and let them have it and move on. Like every single one of them. One common phrase that I hear a lot is everything to the front. We're talking about, you know, these communities that are poorer villages, but they're still collecting money to pay for cars or supplies. There's a group of women in the village where I lived who have been like feeding these military groups since day one. The idea is we have to get everything to the front because without that, we're gone. Like, you know.
Right. Versus the Russian side, like how invested are random Russians?
They're like Russia's just like everyone to the front.
Yeah.
I really hope that you and President Putin get together and can solve your problem. That would be a tremendous achievement. And I know you're trying to do that.
All right.
Cheers.
We shooting or we
to
sipping?
Ukraine. Sipping this. Oh, what a
dirty words you want to teach my audience?
Okay.
You can tell my mom how to say, "No, Mark, not tonight." I don't know.
I'm not gonna do that. The famous Russian warship "Go fuck yourself." is the go fuck yourself part is iди nахуй, which means like go to the dick. It actually translates to
go to the dick.
Go to the dick.
Can you break it down?
Idi.
Idi is
Idi. Go. And then na is like to or on.
On.
Go on the dick.
On. Yeah.
So that's
go
when they're
fuck
saying
yourself
like
is going on.
Russian worship, go on the dick. Which it did.
What's their fuck? We just throw fuck in constantly.
Pizdец. That's like shit.
Shit.
Yeah. Like oh shit, or like the general phrase like just nахуй, just without the go to, just like on the dick.
On the dick.
Is like I've heard young men in particular like speak, and they'll just like throw that in there, like how Americans would throw in fuck. Yeah, like, and we're
I was out with my buddy Tim, and we're just like fucking around town.
Yeah,
and
like
me and Tim were on the
you
dick.
won't fucking
and,
believe it.
It's like, yeah. So what would you? Is that like cowgirl? Is that what that means? You're on the dick instead of the other way. Can we translate like sex positions into Ukrainian form? Cowgirl.
They only do missionary.
What about reverse cowgirl?
Okay, so
it's real hard to learn.
So I was teaching an 11th grade class.
This was in Ukraine?
In Ukraine. Oh yeah, I taught in Ukraine. I'll never teach again. It was nothing against Ukrainians. I just
a lot against teaching.
Yeah.
Ukrainians.
It's literally the worst. So thanks, teachers, because I'm not gonna
support
do
on
it.
Patreon. Think of the children. I don't have to teach them anymore.
Aaron Carter news there.
More?
I'm just kidding.
You want to break more Aaron Carter news?
Breaking. He's not dead.
He's still dead.
Also would like sit and speak Ukrainian outside of the classroom with my students. And
get drunk.
No, they were like 10.
Oh.
The
James Franco.
12-year-olds, yes.
Okay.
Well, now you made it weird. I actually had a sixth grader once came up to me and Miss Page, I used to smoke cigarettes and drink beer in the forest, but now I don't do that anymore.
It's the 4th grade.
6th grade. And I was like, good job, Vasya. I'm proud of you.
Back in the 4th grade.
Going back to the dating, I did one of the nice young men that I dated. I went over to have lunch with his mom, his mother, and he actually spoke English really well, which surprised everyone because they were like, you weren't a super great student, but you're actually really good at speaking English.
Yeah, but this girl's into me. I've been studying a lot.
Well, and I think a lot of them learned English just from like watching movies and the internet.
Pornhub. All the dialogue on Pornhub. I plumber.
He did say "oh yeah" a lot.
Yeah. He's the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I haven't. Okay, so let me tell this story, and then I gotta tell you about his car.
Right.
And hope he never sees this.
I'm big in Ukraine.
I'm having lunch at this Ukrainian boyfriend's house with his mom. They were both like, hey, if grandma. And so they were like, if Baba comes in, don't say where you're from. And I could fit in well enough, like appearance-wise, because I started doing the red hair then.
Is that a Ukrainian thing?
It's so, yes. Ukra red. They just had this like, I don't know, it was really pretty red color, but Baba came in to use the phone while we're sitting down and having lunch. But she was like, who's this? And
who's this bitch?
Yeah, basically. And
super blah. And you're like, well, I think I knew one of those words.
And so I was quiet and I didn't say anything. And Roma, the boy I was dating. Roman, yes.
You're on your little Roman holiday?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
This is Paige, and I didn't realize it until that moment that all Slavic names, all Cyrillic, Russian, Ukrainian names that are female names
have an
ending in A.
Yeah.
And so when they said Paige, she literally like whipped her head around. She's like, "What kind of name is that?" So this boyfriend,
Roma. You're a Roman holiday.
Had a car. Important to have a car.
Step 1.
Yeah.
Have a car.
And it was
Step
white.
2.
It was a Lada. I don't know if you know about Ladas.
I know all about Ladas. See my video.
And we were not allowed to drive in the Peace Corps.
Just none
for
of
insurance.
you. You're just not allowed to drive at all.
You're just not allowed to drive. Well, because it's a liability. But one
you
time,
have to depend on some men.
No, there's a lot of public transportation.
That doesn't.
Also, I
what is
hitchhike like
that?
all the
What is
time.
You did a lot of hitchhike. Have you ever hitchhiked in America?
Yes. I did learn though that that this, like we do that for hitchhiking, and that means
That means
you're-
on penis.
Exactly, it's a prostitute.
Prostituta. Prostituta.
It's prostitutka, so you're pretty much So so that's that. So when you hitchhike in Ukraine, this is helpful to know. You just do this with your hand. You just like put it out to say like, I need a car. I don't need this. I just need a car.
You put a circle and a line through this one. Not a prostitute.
Well, no, that's not. Yeah. So
Yet.
this means you're still a prostitute, but like not a good one.
You're a bad prostitute.
Yeah. So like cheap, but. So anyways, what was my whole point of this?
You're riding with Roma,
Cars,
Roma in his Lada.
So I did get to drive that car once, and it was a manual, and I had a manual before that, and so
you could drive a stick.
I could, and stop, and
I wasn't being dirty.
It's a tank. It's like this thing is like solid. I'm pretty sure it's a
Iron.
Russia brand. Yeah,
Iron.
solid, heavy. Like you can feel the weight of this car.
American cars are made of aluminum. A Lada is just like a cast iron
You can feel
chunk.
the weight of it. It was a white car, and it had like white rims, which
Fancy.
like-
you like a man with a fancy car. A fancy Soviet car.
a Lada with rims. So he tells me that he used to have a car that was all black, which is kind of more of my thing.
You like black.
So then I was like, got it. Tell me more about it. His black car, and he showed me a picture with this writing on the front of the windshield, said Black Power. It's like that.
Dating in Ukraine. And he,
So here's the thing. When I went over there, I was 23 years old. I was spoiled. I was honestly spoiled. I had
You
a
have a
water
shower?
heater. Yeah. I had to turn it on and like wait a long time for it to heat up, and then I could
douche.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
it had a built-in
when I-
douche.
When I had to ask my host family if I could shower because I was like a guest in their home, so
Can I douche real fast?
I
in
would
here?
literally ask them like, "Można douche me?" Like, may I douche? May I shower? And then she would always laugh, and then she would laugh, but then I would laugh because she thought it was funny that I was asking permission, and then I thought it was funny that I was asking permission to douche. At one point, though, I had some friends that came over and had dinner, guys and girls. My landlord, she like pulled me aside, and she's like, "You can't have men in your apartment. Do you know what people think about that?" So I was literally like told I was a prostitute because I was an unmarried woman living by myself, and I had
So you have
men
to
in
go
my
hang
home.
out at their place.
Or car.
Or their car.
Yes.
If you go to his Lada, that's fine. But
Ladas
your
are just-
apartment, not allowed.
Right.
Too
So that was tough.
The Ukrainian flag represents
The golden wheat fields
Right.
and the blue sky.
the Estonian flag represents depression. What should the American flag be?
So I came up with a literal flag and then more of like a abstract flag.
So you have two.
We would obviously, because we're a democracy, vote
We're
for
having
the flag.
a flag referendum like
So-
we're New Zealand.
The literal flag, it's a flag. It's obviously
Good start.
it's the biggest flag, like
Oh,
bigger
it's
than
just
any
enormous.
flag.
Okay.
Bigger than any flag in the world. At least 3 guns on it.
Okay, you're going guns. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
The guns represent our military,
Our armed teenagers.
gangs and armed teenagers, and then school shootings. And I'm saying that as a gun owner. So besides the guns, there's going to be men, no women, just men.
How do we know they're men? Just they're wearing pants and not
Yeah,
dresses?
pants.
Is there
Short
maybe
hair
a little,
outline.
like a bulge or something?
Yeah.
Big gun, small bulge.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Guns.
Trucks? Are they rolling
Yes.
coal?
Oh, that was the other.
They're rolling coal.
Thank you. Semi-truck and maybe a train car at the bottom. Truckers always have a
Semi-truck.
special
Not a
place in
pickup
my heart.
truck. I asked Erin, and she said it should be a KKK hood, a white hood.
I also thought about that. Okay, so that was my
You also thought of this.
So my abstract flag, I thought more in line with the Ukrainian flag. Imagine that you're looking down at the Grand Canyon, but
So
also
a squiggly line?
No, but it's like the 2 lines. So there's like 3 sections, and so there's the flag. It's the Grand Canyon because it's beautiful. Oh, black, white, and black.
Black, white, black.
Mm-hmm.
No rainbow.
So,
Opposite of a
absolutely not.
rainbow. The exact opposite.
Yep, and then so it's a crack to represent, like the division, and then right here in the middle would be like a goat's head for Satan.
My idea was a giant silver spoon going into a rich person's butt.
You could say anything going
That's
into a rich
America.
person's butt and I would
It's
have
a
laughed.
silver spoon. Born with a silver spoon in his butt.
Yeah, because there's not an easy way to show entitlement
Silver spoon in the
besides a silver spoon, in the butt. I was actually really proud of that flag, so.
Write in the comments, how proud should she actually be?
I'm afraid I didn't think that much about it.
Mine was a silver spoon in the butt. You put more thought into it than I did.
As dozens filled in to rally for Ukraine.
It was time for us to come together again.
Now, 8 months into the war and countless rallies later,
It makes me want to scream.
activists are tired and angry.
Jeff, don't make me look sweaty.
I don't have a filter for that.
We'll fix that in post.
Oh my God. So, on October 25th, Aaron Carter posted a picture.
Breaking news. Aaron Carter.
34 years old. 35, 34. Passed away.
R.I.P.
God damn it.
You know you often get an erection when you die, by the way. Fun fact. Fun fact. It's just science facts.
Is it a fact? I feel like you just made that up.
No, it's true.
He posted this picture on October 25th, and it's him throwing a peace sign with all of his stuff packed away. Finally out this bitch. My garage is full of 6 bedrooms right now. I can't wait to move. Being a homeowner is a lot more difficult than y'all think. I don't know. I must have had a couple wines because I commented.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
All right, let's
I said,
hear it.
I must have missed it. Where are you moving to? 37 minutes ago, someone commented, heaven.
Breaking Aaron Carter news. We should watch an Aaron Carter movie right now.
Wasn't he in some Disney Channel shit? I feel like he was
He's on Lizzie McGuire.
Yes!
He's on Lizzie McGuire.
I know a lot about him.
Набью тату, слуга народа.
For Satan.